Being the father of Yusuf is another trial on its own. It's a long story. I don't want to take much more of your time. Anabi Yaqub had Yusuf, and he had Bunyamin, and there were 10 others that were not mentioned. But along the line, Allah made Yusuf to be a prophet. And there was a time Yusuf went to him. He said, "Oh, my father, I saw so and so thing in my dream. 11 stars and the sun and the moon, I saw them prostrating for me." And he said, "Oh, my son, la tuksuk ru'yaka ala ikhwatik." Don't mention your dreams to your father, to your brothers. So, fayakidu laka kaida. If you do that, they will plot against you. Inna shaytana lil insani aduwwun mubin. Because indeed, shaitan is an avowed enemy to humanity. There's something that we need to understand from there. You see, Ishaq happened to be a child of Ibrahim. Are you following it now? This Anabi Ibrahim we just mentioned now. There was Ismail, then there was Ishaq. It's from the lineage of Ismail that you have Muhammad much later. You understand? That Muhammad is the one that grew up in Mecca, and he had to sanctify the house that was built by Ismail and Ibrahim. That's the Kaaba. Muhammad came later and completed the work. Do you follow the trend now? Then here was Ishaq on the other side. He was the great-grandfather of prophets and prophets and prophets, to the extent that Ishaq gave birth to Yaqub, and Yaqub gave birth to Yusuf and Bunyamin and the others. But did you hear anything about the children of Yusuf? Did you ever read that Yusuf had children? You never read it. At least according to the Quran, no mention was made. Whether he had or not, Allah didn't tell us anything in that regard. But there's something I want you to take note of. Did you see that Yusuf had a dream, and he sought out his father to interpret that dream for him? He asked his father, Yaqub, to interpret the dream. How did he know that Yaqub was a dream interpreter? Because Yusuf got it from Yaqub, and Yaqub got it from Ishaq, and Ishaq got it from Ibrahim. When Allah told Ibrahim to slaughter his son, it was through that same kind of dream. You remember, he said he saw in his dream that he should slaughter you, my son. And that gift of dream and prophethood passed on from Ibrahim, it passed on to Ismail and Ishaq. And from Ismail and Ishaq, especially from Ishaq, the dream gift passed on to Yaqub, and from Yaqub to Yusuf. There are some of these things that Allah put in place. Possibly what you have now and what you are now has been handed down to you for about 6 or 10 generations. These things pass from father to child, child to grandchild, from grandchild to grandchild. There are certain traits in life. The scientists call it genetics. Apart from genetics that is physical and biological, there are genetics that are also spiritual in nature. So many things you got from your father and your grandfather got from his own father, and along that line like that. It so happened, and I want to quickly point this out because I'm not sure of the time. I want to quickly point it out that, have you thought what exactly are you passing to your own children? Have you thought what is it that your children will take from you? What are they taking? What have they taken from you? Of what use is whatever they are taking or they have taken from you, of what use will it be to their own generation? If you have never thought about it, you have to start thinking about it now. What exactly did I inherit from my own father that I'm passing to these children? That is one point. Another point is, along the line of genealogy, along the line of generations, what blood have you mixed together? Good blood or bad blood? And that's why you see those elderly people, those people, they are very conscious of who they marry. They are conscious of where they sow their seeds. They are conscious of the women that give birth to children for them. They are conscious of the things that happen to the line of their generations and their existence. They are very cautious of who they marry, and they are very cautious of who their children marry. If Allah wills, give the best of tarbiyah to your children, and if Allah wills, be very conscious of who your children marry. I'm not saying a parent should force the child to marry this or marry that, but let your children understand very well that the seed that you sow, before we can see the implication of the woman you have impregnated, it may be another 3 generations to come before we see some messed up generation that you have created for yourself. Some people have mixed blood of rascals with their generation. Today, so no matter how religious you think you are as a father, the kind of places where you got these children from will certainly affect whatever thing they are coming with. And be cautious, be careful, because things happen. And some things that are happening to you now, good or bad, may have been a result of about 6 generations before you, and you are just carrying the thing that they put in the line of that generation. For some, they put seeds of goodness, of righteousness, of bravery, of honesty. For some, along the line, some rascal grandfathers have put some seed of evil that they sow, and the repercussions will be following their generations and generations and generations. That's what they have inherited. May Allah save us from evil inheritance. So that line of dreaming and seeing things as they would be, some people have them, even now as we speak. Some people have spiritual gifts, some people have some spiritual talents. They can't even explain it, but they know they have it. Be careful what you pass on to your children. Be careful the combinations you make between you and women. Some men, they will shoot here, they will shoot there, they will shoot everywhere, indiscriminately. Be careful. Be very careful.